Okay, so we're just going to do a quick video here for the YouTube. Basically, none of what I'm going to be going through on the new 460 revolver is allowed to be put up on YouTube. So the actual video of what we're going to discuss here very quickly will be up on the Rumble channel. I'll put a link in the comments down below. However, the Rumble channel is the same name as this YouTube channel, but this is strictly for the YouTube channel, just to be talking about what we're going to be discussing. Also, that will be uploaded tomorrow, as I am not home. I'm actually in a friend of mine's garage, so not my mess. Anyway, yeah, we've got some serious problems with this gun. I received the gun. Basically, I have an unboxing video where basically took it out the box. I have not fired the gun. So this is exactly the way it came out of the box. But again, that will have to be on the other platform because YouTube does not allow disassembly, and you'll see what I mean about disassembly when we get into this here in a minute. However, this is a major gripe against Smith & Wesson, and I have still not heard back from them on this, but this gun was purchased as a new gun directly from the distributor, sent directly to me, and basically, for lack of a better excuse other than, Smith & Wesson's quality control. Of course, Smith & Wesson quality control is basically in the toilet, but even with their quality control in the toilet, the only thing I can surmise from this is not a new gun that was sent from the Smith & Wesson factory, which we will show you here as we get into it. Again, friend's garage. Basically, well, just to get into it here. And again, apologize for the lighting. Let me see if I can turn the light on this. I'm not sure if that's going to make it better or worse. But if we look inside the frame of the pistol, and if we look at the face here, you can see all this discoloration, all the scratching. Now, of course, this camera is probably not going to show it here. I did use a bore scope. I put a bore scope in the barrel whenever I did the unboxing video. Again, this one's just to show you what's going to be on the other video, since we're not allowed to show disassembly of the firearm here, which technically is not disassembly, it's just the gun was falling apart. However, you can see the markings on the face here. Discoloration in the frame. Again, I don't think my camera lighting is helping out very well, but you can see just how filthy that this thing is. Each of the chambers, which of course I know you won't be able to see through this, but I do have bore scopes for that. Well, actually I can see a little bit here. If you notice, you can see the filth in each of the chambers. They said, well, that was from, we do not clean the guns after test firing at the factory. As far as test firing, I'll go ahead and say this. When I checked the bore out, I actually went and bought a bore scope specifically for documenting this handgun, because the lands, it looks like you took a solid bar of copper and just took and rubbed it all over each of the lands. The copper fouling is unbelievable. The grooves look like someone poured asphalt into the grooves when you look down the barrel on this. Again, in the other video, I have better pictures of this, but again, apologize for the camera here, but you can see the fouling in the bore. Just past the forcing cone. And if you look at the forcing cone, again, I don't think I can get this thing to focus. Maybe. Let's try this. But the forcing cone itself, there's excessive wear on the forcing cone. There is actually deformation of the forcing cone. And speaking of, if you look at the top here, if I keep the cylinder open while turning this, I've got to get used to where my camera lens is so I can line it up. Of course, that changes my focal point. There is gas cutting, if you can see right there. There is gas cutting on the top strap. For those of you who aren't familiar with what gas cutting is, that is when you shoot high pressure overloaded loads. There's so much gas escaping between the forcing cone and the cylinder face that the gas, it's hot gases, it's just like a blowtorch that cuts into the metal. But as you can see here, this gun, I have never even loaded a round into it, let alone fired it. This gun has gas cutting into the top strap. Again, what gas cutting is, it's metal removed from the top strap from the hot gases being fired. And again, that is not from factory testing. Generally, factory testing, if you test every chamber, that's 1 round per chamber, you stick it in the box and you send it out. Used to a lot of times when you bought a semi-auto pistol, my Beretta for example, every SIG I've ever bought, there's a test fire case and a little manila envelope that comes inside the case. They send a fired test fire empty with the guns to say, okay, this gun has been test fired. But they fire it once, twice, 3 times. Okay, maybe they fire it 5 times. If this gun was test fired for 5 rounds, as this is a 5-shot, if they tested each chamber with 1 round apiece, you are not going to get gas cutting from 5 rounds of factory ammunition. It does not happen. Generally, again, gas cutting is shooting overpressure loads will cause it, or excessive shooting of high pressure loads. You know, still within pressure specs, but high pressure max loads, high pressure magnum loads. Again, with my 44, I've noticed just a little bit of gas cutting on my 629, but that's because I do not shoot target loads through my 629. And back when I was still able to shoot, I have put probably 10,000 rounds. Now again, this isn't a 9mm. This isn't, I have to lay that down. My hand's getting a little crampy here holding the phone. But again, you know, this is 9mm 45 ACP. This is a 44 Magnum. And I have put over 10,500 full power, balls out, straight Magnum 44 loads through that gun. And it's not any worse than this is straight out of the box. So something's wrong there. Again, you can see the breech face. Another thing, which of course that's the reason I'm having to do the full unboxing video on the other, the ejector rod here, I tightened up, but when this came out, this ejector rod, and of course it has left-hand threads, but the ejector rod was not even finger tight. I simply went to just simply spin the cylinder. Well, I guess I'll have to change hands here. Get my hand out of the camera, but I just simply went to spin the cylinder by the end of the ejector rod, and the ejector rod unscrewed in my fingers. It was not even finger tight. The ejector rod completely unscrewed. Well, when I noticed the ejector rod unscrewing, let's see if I can get a handle on this. What happens when you unscrew the ejector rod, the extractor will start backing out because the ejector rod is what holds the extractor in. Again, sorry for the phone not focusing. But on the extractor here, which you will see in the other video, well, I can't hold the phone and do that, but point to. Basically, Again, this was just an impromptu to get this up on the YouTube so I could send it to the others. But all these milled spots here, and again, there's a delay in my camera versus my actual manipulation, so that kind of throws me off. But all these areas here, as you see on the extractor. In the other video, I took an oak dowel. We're not talking about pine or softwood. I took a seasoned oak hardwood dowel, and when I took the extractor out, I literally shaved the dowel. That extractor, the edges on both the front and the back, it is sharper than, I guarantee, 90% of the average person's pocket knives. My pocket knife, you know, as my dear departed daddy say, you'd shave the hair off an ant's backside. But it is sharper than most pocket knives that the majority of people carry, unless they're real worried about honing the knives. But yeah, it is sharper than a pocket knife. I literally shaved down an oak dowel just with that extractor. The other thing is on the star for the ratchet. Same thing. These points here, these are so sharp. I mean, I actually cut my thumb when I was first handling this. It is so sharp, it will actually cut you. And as you can see, again, that's some of the marks. Well, I'd have to turn my camera or my light back on. But let's see if I can focal plane. It is actually cutting grooves into the face. So that is burred up so bad. Again, if you look down here, you can see the fouling. The video is better and better focused in the actual video, but these are just some of the things we're pointing out. But again, as I said, the fouling in this thing is horrendous, and I used the borescope as best I could. I did take pictures on the borescope, but there's no way to link the pictures from the borescope to the video. So what I did is I basically just set up the borescope, and I put the phone on the borescope screen as I was running the borescope down it. But you can see the copper fouling and just the trash fouling that's in this barrel. It's horrible. Back to my 44, for example. I do not shoot target loads. And this bore, with supposed test firing at the factory, has more fouling in it. It has, not exaggeration, I won't say 2 or 3 times, I'm saying it has 8 times more fouling in this bore from a supposed 5-round test fire than my 44 mag does with full house magnum loads after 500 rounds. When I'm shooting my 44, I take 500 rounds to the range. I don't clean in between. I put 500 rounds through the gun. When I get home, I basically run a wet patch down it, 2 dry patches. I don't brush it, do anything else. I'll actually do a clean job about every 1,500 rounds. But 500 rounds of full house magnum jacketed bullets will leave a fraction of the copper fouling that this bore has in it, and it will leave none of the trash fouling, the asphalt fouling that this bore has in it. And again, you can see right here the wear on the crane. This is not powder buildup. This is scratch wear off of decoloration. So the main reason I'm doing these videos is I've contacted Smith & Wesson multiple times so far. I've spoken to them twice. All they said is, well, send it back in and we will, take a look at it. That's 6 to 8 weeks that the gun will be going to them. Then when I get it back, the last 2 I've sent in to Smith, and this was before they got even this horrible. One of them took 6 weeks. I got it back. They still didn't fix the problem. I ended up fixing it myself. But I originally thought this is a new gun. It's not one I bought used. This was sent directly from the distributor to me. Brand new gun, supposedly a new unfired gun other than the test rounds he fired at the factory. And, oh, it's horrible. On the hammer here, I've cleaned most of it off. If I get my lighting right, you might be able to see, but the hammer, it was just like fouling grease. It was almost like shooting hard cast, heavy waxed, heavy fouling bullets. But this whole hammer was completely covered in grease. And this was after me wiping it off with a paper towel, and you can still see but the wear. And again, the other video, I actually take the extractor out, take the ejector rod out, have the bore scope, have better, more focused pictures of the discoloration inside the gun. I have better pictures of the gas cutting on the top strap. I have all the scratch marks on the breech face. But this was just to basically let you know if you want to see about the Smiths, and because simply taking the ejector rod out and taking the extractor off the pistol to show just how horrible this thing is, that's considered a strike on a YouTube channel. That's considered disassembly of a firearm, which we're not allowed to do, so I'm not allowed to put that on YouTube. So again, all that's broken down in the Rumble video, so hopefully you get to go look at that. But yes, this is just horrible. And if this isn't a gun that was taken back in under a warranty repair or something like that, and then inadvertently resent out, if this is how bad Smith & Wesson customer control is, they have a major problem. Also, when I got the gun, when I ordered it, it was supposed to come with 2 comps, which this is the lead comp for shooting lead bullets. It does not have the holes in the top by the sight. Only has the side vents, and then the gas vent is beyond the barrel. Anyway, it was supposed to come with 2 comps and a brake. Well, this is the only comp that came with it, which is a lead comp. I called Smith. I said, I know the reason that you can't shoot lead bullets through the jacketed comp is because the jacketed comp, again, it has holes in the compensator that line up with these ports on the barrel. It vents the gas up. Again, I have a delay in the phone, so apologize for that. But it vents the gas up, and this is what actually keeps the barrel down, is not these side vents, but these right here. However, if you shoot lead bullets through that, it will actually lead weld the compensator into the gun. So that's the reason they have one for lead bullets and one for jacketed bullets. Well, again, with the lead bullet compensator, you do not get these vent holes venting gas, which does increase recoil. But you would assume that, okay, well, I could still shoot jacketed bullets through the lead comp. This is what Smith & Wesson told me. No, you can't shoot jacketed bullets through the lead comp. You have to change back. Every time you change rounds, you have to change back from the lead comp to the jacketed comp. So if I want to go from 45 Colt loads, cowboy loads, to a 460 jacketed, I have to change this compensator out every time, is what they're saying. I think they just don't know what they're talking about. Again, the lead bullet compensator should just be so it doesn't vent through these ports and spew lead out and weld it, because, again, it's just that this is a higher recoil compensator, but there should be no reason you can't shoot a jacketed bullet through this. Again, that's the thing with Smith & Wesson, but again, I don't think this is going to focus. Let me see if I can try to change my focal point on the phone here, but one of the things is in the casting here, there are pits. Not like dimples, there are pits in the casting of this barrel. This barrel was cast, not milled. Or if it was milled, it was a horrible job. But there are casting marks and pits, voids. There are voids in this barrel shroud. Just open voids. Again, that wouldn't come from use of the gun. That's just crappy quality control through Smith & Wesson. And had some issues when taking the grip off here. Again, I can't show that here, but in the other video, when we take the grip off, there's a whole nother plethora that I had to deal with. So again, this is just to let you know that I will be having the full, complete video on the Rumble channel. So go over and check it out. And also what I will do now, again, I'm not home. I won't be home till probably tomorrow or the day after from when this video posts. Of course, by the time anybody sees it, it'll probably be posted, and I don't get much traffic on here. But anyway, I will come back when I get home to upload the full takedown video, and I will post a link to that video if I'm allowed, if I can. Again, YouTube rules, comments, all that. Not sure if I'm able to do that. But again, it's Rumble. And same name. The benches, numeral 3. But there's a full breakdown video that will be going up either tomorrow or the next day from the time this video posts, that will show everything I'm talking about. I'm also taking the compensator out and a few other things, but yeah, either Smith & Wesson is sending warranty refurb guns back out in place of new ones, or I don't know, maybe the guys in the shop just thought, hey, let's go, shoot the fire out of this just for fun, lunch break. I don't know what the deal is. Again, Smith & Wesson is not getting back with me. Another problem you will see in the other video is I can feel there's an indent here. Let's see if I can possibly get that. I don't think it's going to, but the cylinder stop, which is this right here. Those of you familiar with revolvers know what stop is, but this is what actually fits into the grooves on the cylinder to keep the cylinder from rotating. And this, well, you can see right here. I can show you my fingernails on that cylinder stop. It's actually grooving. It's cutting a groove. Again, this is poor lighting, and I understand that. But it's cutting an actual groove, not just a drag mark. A lot of times you'll get a drag mark on a blued revolver. Now, of course, my Python had that. But my Python was carried religiously, and I got my Python when I was 13. It was a used gun when I got it, but almost new. But I put, I don't know, 12,000, 13,000 rounds through my Python. So you can expect to have a wear spot where it simply wears the bluing off. Well, this is a stainless. There is no bluing. So what this is doing is, turn that off, this is actually cutting a groove into the metal when it drags across that cylinder stop. So it's actually cutting into the metal just like the ratchet is cutting into the face. I mean, it's literally cutting grooves, taking metal out like you would take an engraving tool and you would engrave a groove in it. That star is literally engraving into the frame. So I know a lot of this is not customer service. They suck too. No offense. I used to love their customer service. Used to be on first name basis with every one of them. Now, the last guy I talked to was he was an ass. I'm 52. For those of you that don't know my channel, don't know me, I'm 52. I've had a pistol in my hand since I was 4. I've been gunsmithing since I was 7, 8 years old. I've been building guns since I was 9. I got my master gunsmith at 16. I'm 52 now, so I've had a little bit of experience. But the quality control on this is just, I have never seen anything so horrible. I know they had a problem one time with getting the barrels to line up. Again, I believe this model has the barrel shroud with the independent barrel. But that was a big thing. But this, I mean, the quality control is just beyond horrible. But the fact that when you watch the other video, when you actually look down the bore of this thing, that's not quality control. That's just excessive amounts of high pressure ammunition that has fouled the fire out of the barrel. Completely copper fouled the lands. And again, the grooves look like you poured asphalt in them. That's the way this came out of the box. Again, I've never even shot this thing, haven't loaded it, haven't done anything. That is straight out of the box. So that's another reason I'm doing this. As I said, Smith & Wesson can't come back and say, oh, well, I notified them the very same day that I picked this gun up. I notified them and said, hey, I've got these problems. I did not get the parts with it. Front sight was another. I did not know that this had the fiber optic sight installed, which brings me to another case, which you will see in the other video. There is excessive wear, there's finish wear on the sight, which generally comes from holstering. But if you can see, I'm going to try to get over where my focal point is. Again, cell phone's not doing great. But there is excessive wear, as you can see here, on the front sight, where the finish, your black coating, it's not blued, it's just basically, I don't know if that's Bronington, whichever coat, but where the finish on the front sight has been